What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Trick 10s. Now, in my line of work, I don't get surprised easily. There's not much that I haven't seen, especially when it comes to customer repair jobs, botched welds, etc. Now, this boat has something I have not really seen firsthand, and it's going to be challenging to repair it. This thing was in an accident. Two boats collided, probably about 20 miles an hour, running full speed in one of these Suffolk Lakes tournaments. I am familiar with these tournaments and how they start, and this happened right at the blast off. Everybody gets in the water and they all take off, and they're trying to haul butt to get to their spot so they can get the best and most optimal fishing grounds. Somehow, this boat and another boat actually managed to get into a pretty bad accident, and I'm surprised that this boat right here is not sitting at the bottom of the lake. When I show you the size of the gouge in this thing, you will be shocked that this thing is actually sitting here and it's in the condition that it's in right now. But this boat is a 1648 well built. It's a 2022. The thing's basically brand new. The guy's only taken it out a handful of times. This was his first local tournament that he's fished out of this thing, and it was unfortunate that that happened to him. But I'm gonna get this thing fixed up. I'm going to get him back out on the water, and hopefully it doesn't put a dampener on his tournament fishing series. As you guys know, I love well builts. They are my favorite hulls to build. I would not recommend that you get it with all this extra stuff in here from well built because it is not up to the level of build quality that I like to have in my boats. The hulls are awesome, but the interior work, not so much. Let me tell you about this boat. This boat was in an accident with another boat, which is a well built also. It was a 1652. I actually did all of the electronics install on that. I built a live well on that boat, and that thing was sick. It's like a snow camo boat. It had a cool paint job on it. Lots and lots of electronics in it. Lots of big money. All right, so the boat is completed. This is the puck that I welded back here to attach the transducer or for the helix graph on. I ran it up the side and comes through this side panel. Back out underneath of it. It's on a swing arm. Thing fits perfect. It's a really nice graph too. Obviously, we've got our switch panel over here, fuse panel next to that, live well. The only thing I don't have in here is his Dakota lithium batteries. I have my own batteries staged in here just so I can make sure everything works. Garmin trolling motor, custom foot pedal tray, custom Trick 10s dual graph bridge, 126 on top, 106 on the bottom. I mean, they just sit up there perfectly. The thing is sick. All the wires are ran down through the grommet in the face of the foot pedal. Foot pedal is attached, everything's sturdy. Got our Panoptix transducer. They tell you to tape it to the shaft, so it's taped. We got plenty of slack in our loop right there. It feeds back under. It's a sweet boat. I can't wait till he gets this thing out on the water. Start showing it off. But somehow these two boats managed to run into each other right at the blast off. This one, I think, got the brunt of it. Not 100% sure. I haven't seen all the pictures or seen the other boat firsthand in person, but I've got a feeling this is going to be a two-part video because there's two boats that were damaged, and this is the first one we're going to fix this thing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this camera around. I'm going to give you guys a once-over of the entire boat. I'm going to show you the damage, and I'm going to show you how I plan on fixing it. Let's get back to work. All right, so this is what we are working with. Now, this boat is a 2022. It's a 1648. This is how they're doing a lot of these front pedestal bases now. I really don't like this. I mean, not only is it ugly, but it was already ugly when it was just this round piece welded up here, but now they decided to put this big old square plate around it and weld that down too. But you know, it is what it is. I wish they would just come up with a way that they could put some stiffeners up underneath of this front deck right here and then just use the traditional bolt down seat pedestal base. It would look a whole lot better in my opinion. Now it does have the custom floor and the side panels in it. You can see where they seam them together right here, and it's taller on the front and back than the existing decks in here. But If you just wanted a boat to hop in and get ready to go, it's probably your best bet. You can order it just like this from Weldbuilt. It does come with a side live well. He's got some rod holders over there. Put a little piece of foam on either side, I guess, just keep his reels protected. It's a sweet little boat, especially considering what he's doing, fishing Suffolk Lakes. Now, you guys know that I look at all this and I just see this as a blank canvas, basically. I mean, you know, you got storage right here. You could have, you know, a bigger deck, lots of stuff inside of here, but this is what it is. And this is how they come stock. And it's a great hull. I mean, it really is a great hull. But this one has taken some serious damage on the side of it here. Now, let's look at this thing. I mean, this hole is humongous. It's all smashed and rolled up in here and pushed in really bad. I mean, this hole would be totaled if this were an insurance claim. Luckily, it wasn't up underneath the boat too bad. This whole angle is still pretty straight right here. I don't really know the best way to repair it and make it look like there was nothing ever there and no damage. But what I talked about with the customer is putting a big patch over this. I'm gonna patch this whole thing up right here, all the way down to this bottom corner. I'm gonna try to put some nice, pretty weld beads on here, and we're gonna paint this thing. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect, but obviously it's already not perfect. This thing is destroyed. What really sucks about this right here is that on the inside of this, it hit right where the live well is at. But even came here and smashed the live well corner up pretty good. So in order for me to really get inside of here and try to bang it out, I'm gonna have to remove this whole live well. And we're not gonna do all that. It's just not in the budget, and I think it's gonna be fine. Now, the patch that I put on the outside, obviously it's gonna be on the outside. It's not gonna be flush right here, but it shouldn't affect too much with the drag of this boat, because the bottom of this boat is where you'd really worry about drag. I don't think the side of this is going to be a big deal, but I am going to try to get as much of this flattened back out as I can to get it somewhat straight, and then I'm going to put a big patch over the whole thing and weld it solid. Now let me show you what part of the boat hit this one. Obviously not this boat, but the boat that it was in a collision with. So this is where he hit him. I mean, my gosh, this thing is super strong right here. The other boat, I did see one picture of it, and this is just basically pushed down. It's like compressed, kind of like somebody just pushed your nose in a little bit. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, I think that I could fix that one pretty easily considering the damage on this boat. I can't believe this thing didn't sink though. I mean, that's a humongous hole. He said basically that once it happened, the other guy that was hit him, his son fell in the water. They tried to get his son back in the boat, and by the time he turned around, he already had water that he was standing in on top of this floor. Now this subfloor sits about 3.5 to 4 inches above the bottom of the hull, so it's a lot of water. I could imagine this stuff was just dumping in here, but what he did was he just ran the outboard, took this thing V-line right to the shore, and they pulled it up on the shore and got all the water out. And now it's here for the Trick 10s to fix this thing up. I'm gonna patch this bad boy up and get him back out on the water. Let's get back to work. right, so I got this thing patched up. Now, obviously, it's not ideal to ever get your boat into an accident, but, you know, things happen. And this is the best possible repair for the money. I mean, this is very unnoticeable once it's going to be painted. Nobody's going to see this thing. It's just going to be blended in as part of the boat. Now, obviously, if you pick the boat apart, you'll see it. But all in all, I mean, it turned out pretty well. I ground this weld down just to try to hide it. I mean, honestly, I think the weld looked better than having it ground down, but this will help him with any type of water drag or anything like that. And I feathered this side a little bit. I didn't want to keep welding and feather it out because it's just going to warp this thing. It's so thin. The patch that I put on here is 080, and that's pretty similar to what the hull of this boat actually is. I'm happy with it. I think the customer is going to like it. It's fixed. It's not going to leak. I have no way of testing it, but I welded it, and I'm pretty confident it's not going to have any issues. Now, he is going to paint it himself. I told him that he can get some of this paint from Well Built. It's pretty expensive. It's like 30 bucks a can, but I told him to hit it with some self-etching primer and then come back and paint it with the Well Built paint. I told him I would do it, but I got to order this stuff, and there's no point in me keeping this boat for another 2 days just to hit some spray paint on it. He can handle that. The patch turned out great. This is exactly what he needed. It's exactly what he got. It's kind of funny because he asked me when he came in here, what are the welds going to look like? Told him that I can guarantee him that those welds I put on there are going to be better than any other weld in his entire boat, and they definitely are. More than likely, you're going to be seeing the Well Built 1642 snow camo boat back in my shop. I'm probably going to be repairing the front bow of that boat where he ran into the side of this one and snuffed the nose up in there. So look out for that video. And remember, guys, if you're going to be out there on the water, there's going to be a lot of people out there. Summer's coming quick, so please be careful. Make sure you wear your personal flotation devices and look at all your surroundings, and always, always be safe, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. I got to get back to work.